Welcome to MLK Manifesting the Dream, an annual program of We the World to carry forward the work and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. To learn more and get involved, please go to we.net/MLK. My name is Rick Ulfik, and I am the founder of We the World and the We campaign at we.net. We the World is an international coalition building organization that unites and promotes the efforts of people, organizations, and movements working for the common good. Now, as we honor Martin Luther King Jr., I'm excited that we will have a conversation with Audrey Kitagawa, who is president and founder of the International Academy for Multicultural Cooperation. We will consider how the work of MLK continues to be crucial today. MLK worked to address racism and expand people's civil rights. Now we are seeing mass deportations starting, targeting Black and brown immigrant populations, devastating families, and terrorizing communities. MLK also worked to end poverty and address inequality. Now we are witnessing the targeting and dismantling of crucial public programs and agencies like the one Department of Education, which is responsible for about $18 billion in Title I funding for high poverty schools. All this defunding of programs that serve the public is likely designed to give huge tax cuts to the wealthiest people in the world. So MLK's work continues on. Now I'm excited that we will hear from Audrey Kitagawa. Audrey Kitagawa, JD, is president and founder of the International Academy for Multicultural Cooperation. She is president of the Light of Awareness International Spiritual Family, chair of the Anti-Racism Initiative, and the Gender Equality Working Group of the G20 Interfaith Forum. And she is a longtime ally, partner, and friend, as well as a frequent participant and supporter of We the World. Audrey, could you please speak about how your work connects with MLK's longstanding concerns and society's current challenges? And welcome to MLK Manifesting the Dream, Audrey Kitagawa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rick. I would like to express my deepest appreciation for this invitation to join We the World to speak about our work at the International Academy for Multicultural Cooperation as it relates to the legacy of Dr. King's messages, which are just as relevant in today's global landscape as they were during the American Civil Rights Movement. The enduring legacy of Dr. King is to be able to show precisely what you have asked me to speak about today, which is how his life's work, messages, and actions are implemented into the work of the Academy. You know, all around the world, people and organizations are applying his teachings that have continued to make inroads in society. And though the current upheavals that are going on now, as you have previously addressed, Rick, seem like setbacks to what Dr. King worked so hard to bring into fruition, we must always remember the words which he first expounded in a speech in Chicago in 1965, which became a rallying cry for the civil rights movement when he said, We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Dr. King had the insight and ingenuity to weave together multiple issues into a cohesive, layered message. And today we have a concept for it: intersectionality, a word coined by Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989. Dr. King, in his wisdom and eloquence, was identifying and articulating intersectionalities before the concept was even defined. And the Academy considers the interconnected complexities of global challenges by addressing a broad range of subject matters and engaging in a wide variety of partnerships while maintaining a multicultural and multi-faith perspective. Dr. King was a Baptist minister and president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He viewed his own faith as a bridge to cooperation and mutual understanding. The mission of the Academy is to chart new pathways towards peace, equality, justice, and a healthy, sustainable world. When introduced to the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. King embraced Gandhi's nonviolent movement. And he called Gandhi the first person in history to lift the love ethic of Jesus above mere interaction between individuals to a powerful and effective social force. He applied the concepts of ahimsa, or nonviolence, and satyagraha, or truthfulness, to the American civil rights movement and believed that nonviolent, peaceful resistance was a way to challenge segregation and discrimination. The world's religions and faith traditions share many universal sacred values, including nonviolence. And Dr. King was a strong opponent of nuclear weapons and nuclear war. He believed that nuclear disarmament was essential to racial equality and social justice. He believed that nuclear weapons should be banned and that nuclear testing should be stopped. And in his 1964, the Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech, Dr. King rejected the idea that nations should spiral into nuclear war. He said, quote, "I refuse to accept the cynical notion that nation after nation must spiral down a militaristic stairway into the hell of thermonuclear destruction. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality." In these times of looming nuclear threat and global conflicts, practicing nonviolence will be one of the major keys to peace and security. The Academy also co-sponsored an event at Soka University in advance of the G7 Hiroshima Summit in 2023 that focused on advancing human security, sustainability, and the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. We also participate in commemorative events every year that mark the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We created a film marking the 75th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, in which former Secretary of State George Shultz and former President Mikhail Gorbachev, may they both rest in peace, participated. And we also engage with and support anti-nuclear weapons efforts by other organizations, including the United Religion Initiative's Voices for a Nuclear Weapons-Free World and the Global Security Institute. And this year, being the 80th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as well as the Hibakusha having won the Nobel Peace Prize, we will certainly also have huge commemorations on this particular anniversary. You know, the words of Dr. King inspire the Academy's key mission of finding new pathways towards peace. And Dr. King's advocacy for peace and nonviolence was driven by a belief that we unequivocally share with him, that violence begets violence and that peace can be achieved through love and nonviolence. And Dr. King was also a proponent of values. He said, "We've got to rediscover those precious values that we've left behind and be honest and loving and just with all humanity." He believed that moral laws are eternal and natural and part of God's divine plan. The Academy is a values-driven organization, and we focus on honoring the sacredness of life, ever guided by love, promoting harmony and understanding amongst people from diverse cultural and spiritual traditions, engaging in collaborative initiatives that create positive transformations for a more peaceful world, approaching all that we do with the highest ethical standards, and speaking the truth and communicating in open, respectful ways. The enduring, profound words of Dr. King will continue to resonate in the hearts of all those who work towards human rights, equality, and justice. And I, like Dr. King, believe that truth and unconditional love will indeed have the final word. The Academy began its public advocacy during the COVID-19 pandemic and the height of the 2020 Black Lives Matter movement. Constrained by the shutdown, we turned to the webinar platform to explore highly provocative topics and engage a range of diverse experts. In 2021, I joined the G20 Interfaith Forum as chair of its anti-racism initiative, and several of our webinars were collaborative efforts focused on addressing and ending racism in all its forms. In his 1969 essay, A Testament of Hope, Dr. King said that justice for Black people cannot be achieved without radical changes in the structure of our society. And this struggle to achieve equality is ongoing, and much of our work is to provide a platform for advocates to speak out about the structural changes that are still needed. We have addressed structural racism, bigotry, and discrimination in its many manifestations around the globe, and examined topics such as the effects of colonialism and neocolonialism, including in indigenous peoples and their cultures in the cocoa and chocolate industries. Our webinars have also explored ecological racism, including the impact of mining in the Congo and deep seabed mining in the Pacific. You know, Rick, these webinars really reflect the many manifestations of racism and the various forms of social inequalities that they cause, a theme that echoes Dr. King's observations and assertions. And for example, Dr. King makes a connection between racism, militarism, and poverty, which he calls the triple evils. In our inquiries into extractive mining in the Congo, participants addressed how the abundance of natural resources have left the people to suffer in the most degraded environment, poor health, damaged infrastructure, poverty, loss of income, and ongoing armed conflict. So, you know, it is very important that we recognize that what Dr. King understood of the intersection of racism and discrimination with the environment and the hyper-consumerism, militarism, poverty, and marginalized communities. You know, despite his short life, he left a treasure trove of inspiring messages filled with hope, love, and a vision for peace. And I thank you so much, Rick, for this opportunity to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. And, you know, given what you said and the challenges our societies are facing, do you have a call to action that you would like to share?
Yes, thank you so much for asking me about that, Rick. Our call to action is that we honor Dr. King's legacy by committing to daily acts of love, kindness, and service. And we stand up against injustice, uplift the marginalized, and become beacons of light in our own families and communities. For where we are is the holy ground, and we must find the reality of the living God who is love here and now. So let us be inspired by Dr. King's example to pursue peace, reconciliation, and harmony in our own lives, whether through prayer, service, activism, and in every loving word and action, in every moment that we live. Thank you so much, Rick.
Well, thank you. Well, I think this has been really inspiring to hear, and I think everyone listening to this will be inspired by what you said. So thank you for being part of MLK Manifesting the Dream, Audrey Kitagawa, and I really appreciate your participation in this program.
Thank you so much, Rick.
And as we usually do at the end of our panels, this is a W. It's all about we, right? Which is really another way of talking about MLK's beloved community, right? So let's go from being a me society to a we society, right? That's why we launched we.net. So thank you all again so much. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rick. Bye-bye.
Bye.